Alright, so what we got going on today is we're going to be swapping out 4 tires, and I'm not going to show you guys that because I'm sure you're all about tired of seeing tire swaps. And then on my cat, my C-15 Acert, I've got some pulleys, a tensioner that went bad and the other night, and we got to put all that back together and make it right. So I'll show you that here in just a second. But here's what we got, these old Chinese tires on directional Freightliners, and they're going to be getting Oreillys right there put on. Like I said, I ain't going to show you because we've done enough of tires, so I'm going to try and change it up a little bit. Well, I said you wasn't going to get any tire action, but you're going to get a little bit. We didn't use the bead setter last time on the last video, last few videos, because the tires went on and beat it up just fine. But these Kellys have been stored in a flat position, which flattens them out and makes them where they won't just air up and expand. So you got to use the bead setter to get it done. So, and I'll probably won't get it first shot because I'm not very good at using this thing, but that's all right. A lot of people do it while it's standing up straight, which is fine. But this is actually sitting on a 5-gallon bucket, so the tire is off the ground. So my dad taught me that trick. What that does is that lets you can actually press the tire down and almost seal the back bead. Then all you gotta do is just worry about blowing the top one up. So I still got the valve core in the valve stem. We're gonna try it without. A while ago this is my last tire. A while ago I had to take the valve core out to get it to air, but anywho. See what we can do here. I think we got her. Smoking gun. All right, now I'm gonna put this stuff back together, put these tires back on. We're gonna get to that Acert pulley drive system and the belt and everything, and then I'll video a lot of that. That way, if anybody needs to know how to do that, they'll know. I'll show some part numbers too. All right, so this is what we got going on. I got a BXS Acert. It is an 04 build date. BXS 14071 is a serial on the engine. So I had a main drive tensioner for the main belt go out on the serpentine system, and the tensioner pulley went out. So the bearing was shot, and I'll show it to you. So what happened was, to get me down the road, now I always keep extra belts with me, but it never dawns on you to actually keep a extra pulley. So what I did was so there was two belts. There's one belt that runs the alternator, fan, and crank, and some idlers. And then off the fan runs to a tensioner and then to the AC system. So I thought maybe the tensioner was the same for the AC system. Well, it's not. The keyway that keeps it in place is different, and I'll show you. So what I did instead was I just robbed the pulley off of it and put it onto the main tensioner. And that got me home all the way. I had to space it out and do all that mess to make it work because the shoulder wore off, and I'll show you. But it got me home. I drove over 1,000 miles like that. Well, close to over 1,800, close to 2,000 really. And it got me all the way home. So now what we're doing today is we're replacing all the pulleys, even if they're bad or good. I'll show you all the part numbers for all the pulleys. So, and just so I'm safe, and then these old pulleys are fine, the ones that are on here. So what they'll do is they'll go in the boxes and they'll go in the side box. So I shouldn't have this issue again, shouldn't have to rig anything. Fortunately, we're in the month of November and it wasn't hot in Texas where I was, so I managed without AC. But here, this is the main, and I already kind of put it halfway back together because this was a good system. This is the AC tensioner, and that goes right here. And then there's a belt that runs through here and then on this. So what had happened was this gone out, and here's the bearings. So that thing is toast. Well, it wore the shoulder off. So luckily, I keep some washers and stuff. I was able to put this on here like this, and it leaves just enough shoulder to grab. There's some trash in there right now. Leaves just enough shoulder in there to grab, and then I was able to still my pulley off of the AC system and put on there and run. And then I tighten this down. And then I was able to put this back. Well, the reason these wouldn't just interchange, you'd think that Cat would think of this, but the keyway is different. So it's almost at an opposite direction. But anyway, that was the rig I got home. And it's just smart, guys, to keep some stuff with you. But anyway. So we're going to be replacing this idler, that ribbed idler, putting a brand new tensioner on the bottom, putting a brand new tensioner on the top. This tensioner, I'm going to put back together with this old pulley, and I'll put in the box and put in the side box. This one is actually okay as a spring tensioner, but you know, this is wore out, but we'll just keep it, you know, we'll put it in the side box. You never know. It's smart to keep these things. So here's a part number. All right, so here's the part number for the smooth idler pulley. Here's the part number for the ribbed idler. Now, this is the part number for the main drive tensioner. I got this at a Tag Truck Center in Jonesboro, Arkansas. This one is a part number for a Oreillys, and I got it. It's a Gates product. This is the AC tensioner. You can also get this one at Oreillys, but a lot of times I have to special order it. I'll set you up and I'll try and get you some shots, and we'll put this all back together. This is about the best shots I can get you guys, but it'll be decent enough to get us done. We're going to start with the smooth tensioner right here, which is a 5/8. I believe the bottom one, yep, is also a 5/8. So we're just going to knock these out. Need to be careful and just make sure everything comes out smoothly, because you're pulling steel out of aluminum here. And I had a friend, you know, bring that up. You'd think that these would be steel, but they're not. They're aluminum. And luckily I got good friends, you know. I called a friend, I got a friend named, I won't say his name, but he lives up in Wisconsin, and he's a great guy. I met him when I first started driving, and he's a big Cat guy, running a real high horsepower Cat. I think his is an MXS and a W9, but real nice truck. And he's a lot of time my kind of guru on if I've got questions. So. And the reason I didn't go with a Cat main tensioner or a tensioner that goes on the top, and I'm probably going to get burned at the stake for this, is because Cat parts are overrated. They're really expensive. So a lot of times if you can find something else that isn't Cat and is just as good, like Gates is good quality, you know, go with Gates. Gates been around as long as Cat probably. So don't over tighten these either. I mean, you're really using too big of a ratchet, but I'm just going to grab the head and tighten it down, and I believe that's tight enough. So going right down here to the next one. And I'll show you the way that belt runs too. Again, you know, I'm thankful I have friends, because this belt was gone, so I had him send me a schematic of the belt just to help me out. And of course he was nice enough to send me the belt. So I don't know if you guys are seeing this or not, but I went ahead and went with Cat on these pulleys. This little darling was $160. That one was only, I think, $79 or something. But anyway, I went ahead and went with Cat on these. That way I got the right ones, and I'm glad I did, because they've got spacers and stuff on the back of them. So, but these tensioners, you know, you can go with a different brand. And like I said, I'm still going to have these And it's the same pulley on both tensioners. So that's a kind of a nice thing to know. The belt on the main drive is a 20254 AA. That's the length. Again, I believe that's tight enough right there. All right, I'm gonna grab the main tensioner, the new one, and we'll throw on. All right, the keyway goes in this hole right here on the bottom. They come with new bolts on these off-brand tensioners, or not Cat brand tensioners, but I'm gonna use the factory one. That way, because the other one's got red Loctite, and I really don't want red Loctite on this aluminum. So, it's just my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. That's tight enough. Okay, now this main belt's ready to go on. So it's already hooked around the crank, and I'll show you a full schematic. But the trick is, now this is just common sense. Well, maybe not common sense. Hook it on your tensioner first, and then find you a pulley like this one here to hook on to. It's a lot easier. And these ratchets from Harbor Freight that extend are great for this. So, pry over. And we're gonna lose our light. That's all right. You can tell that is a new spring, that's for sure. Oh, no wonder. We're off a rib right here. I'll get the light back so you guys can see. All 25 of you. Anyway, so we're on the main groove, checking the crank. We're on. So now we'll move on to this. There's only one pulley on this, so it shouldn't be too bad. Okay, and the way this one goes on, so it hooks in this hole. And again, I'm using the old bolt, or the original bolt. I hope this is decent footage, because I can't see. I don't have a part number for this AC belt. It's rubbed off, and I don't have a spare one, so that's great. So I really need to get one of those. But anyway, so I'm gonna move you and put this on, and then I'll show you how it runs. And since I mounted the bottom belt first, didn't think that through, did I? You have to run it around each one to get it all the way on. So I'll go to the other side. finish running. All right. So we're going to run over the top of that, and then we're going to hook onto this. Well, looky there. See, I ain't perfect. All right, so we got a new pulley, new tensioner, new pulley, new tensioner on the top. So let me show you how this belt runs. Let me see if I can set up our light here. Okay, so the way this belt runs, it runs around the secondary mode right there. Runs over the AC compressor, and then the smooth side, just like that, goes around the tensioner. This belt, and I'll include a picture probably about here. Okay, this main belt goes around the tensioner, around this bottom pulley, back up over the tensioner, around the crank, around the fan. Now that comes around the fan out there, under this one, under this idler pulley, over the alternator. So to hook this, you unhook it right here. You let it just run straight across. You go ahead and hook it on the tensioner. That way it's easier. So you pry this up, and it takes a 1/2 inch drive. You push that way, and then your belt gets loose, and then you hook it right there. And that's how that goes. There she goes. All buttoned up on the idlers and tensioner. Here's all my spare parts. Besides this one, this is bad, still in the junk pile. That's a spare pulley, both tensioners. That one is 8 up. That one tensioner's 8 up, but it's okay because it'll get me home. Like I said, I drove over 1,800 miles on it. So, you know, big thing is keep extra belts, guys. Keep extra belts, keep extra parts with you. That way you can get home. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for us today. I just had to piddle with a couple things. Did them few tires, and I tried to show that because I know you guys are probably getting tired of seeing it. And did these Acert pulleys and stuff. And I'll try and include these pulleys in the description too. That way everybody's got them. And then I'll include some video or some pictures of how the belts run. But anyway, appreciate you guys watching. Anyway, leave a comment if you like it, or leave a comment if you got any questions. I'll get back to you. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good day.